Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we are taking a look at Yukon, the first Commonwealth battleship to come to World of Warships Legends. And if you're confused because it wasn't in the patch notes, trust me, I was confused too. But the good old folks at Wargaming reached out. They're like, hey, we're giving you guys 2 ships to test. You can't talk about them until we unembargo them. Have fun and play them. And this is the first of the 2 that I'm going to show. Hopefully I have enough time to record both of them before I go off on my trip. But if I don't, I'm sure my fellow community contributors will have ships for you. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive on in to the stats of the Yukon. Now, overall, I'm sure you're saying, Tommy, this ship looks mighty familiar. And yes, it's a Monarch. And what is a Monarch but a prototype King George? This is a King George. This is the exact same thing as a Monarch, but it has a couple of the quirks and features that make the Commonwealth ships so great. And that's going to stand out, especially when we get to the Commander, because there isn't a standalone battleship commander for the Commonwealth. Now, as far as how you obtain the Yukon, all I know is right now it's going to be attainable in random bundles. I don't know the chances of getting it. Don't worry if you don't get it. This isn't a meta-defining ship. It's a tier 6 Monarch with a couple of changes here and there. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive on into the loadout. The consumables, well, we have the damage control party. We have the repair party. We have what makes this ship very interesting, a smoke generator. And then we have the option of choosing between a catapult fighter, observation seaplane, and enhanced secondary targeting. I went with observation seaplane because even though I forget to use it all the time, it's nice being able to boost the accuracy when I want to. As far as the loadout, we are running aiming system mod 1, the good old prop mod, and then finally concealment mod. And let's dive in. Oh, and with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the commander. Now, as I mentioned, there's no battleship commander. And by default, you would think, oh, you're going to use Leonard Murray, though. No. Thank goodness for the ability to set multiple different presets, because we are actually going to be running Harold B. Farncombe on this one. So his inspirations, we are running Fisher and D. Revell, just trying to get the reload down on the ship, because we're going for an accuracy by volume of fire kind of build here, where we're just trying to get that reload down as much as we can, because we don't have any other accuracy stats to be able to buff. His base trait is the main reason I went with Farncombe here. Ship detectability time after firing main guns inside Smokescreen goes down. Detectability range after firing main guns, down 12%, and main battery reload time, also a reduction. So all of those things buff the battleship. Then we have Burnt Down XXL Smokestack, which is useful because we have a Smokescreen, and it also, detectability range after firing main guns inside Smokescreen also goes down again. Then maximum movement speed and on alert, followed by fully packed. And what does that do to our stats? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. So hit points of this beast, 60,500 with a torpedo damage reduction of 22% and a fire resistance of 30%. If we want to take a look at the armor, we have the now standard tier 6, 26 millimeters of armor, pretty much all around, with a good old-fashioned belt in the 380s and a nicely submerged, we have to get around on the ice here, nicely submerged citadel. So overall, a fairly well known in layout ship. Of course, this very much mirrors the tier 5 tech tree King George. So if you know that armor, you pretty much know the Yukon as well. Getting back to those stats. Main battery, 3-barrel 381 millimeter guns with firing range of 16.5 kilometers and a reload time of 28 seconds. Main battery 180 time is 45 seconds with a 1.9 sigma, giving you that sort of spread all around. Maximum HE shell damage is 5,300 with a muzzle velocity of 732 meters per second and a 36% chance to set fires. That's going to pen 64 millimeters of armor. AP 11,900 damage at 836 meters per second with a point blank armor penetration threshold of 732 millimeters and a max and a minimum armor damage at max range of 414 millimeters. Minimum ricochet angle and guaranteed ricochet angle are the standard 45 and 60 with a fuse timer of 0.015 seconds and a threshold of 64 millimeters. Secondaries, they're okay here. 8 two-barreled 134s with a 5.2 kilometer range, and they'll do 1900 damage with a 10% chance to set fire. Not the worst, but certainly not the best. AA, kind of mid, but is what you would kind of expect on a mid-tier battleship. Maximum range is going to be 4.5 kilometers, with most of the damage power, the punch, in that 2.5 kilometer range. Maneuverability, 29.1 knots with a turning circle of 790 meters and a rudder shift time of 9.6 seconds. Of course, with the prop mod, we do have a higher engine power multiplier speed threshold. That's such a weird thing to say, but with base being 7 and 9, and it boosted to 17 and 19 knots respectively. Then we get into the fun stuff, the concealment. Detectability by sea, 12.4 kilometers. Detectability by air, 10.4 kilometers. And the reason we went with Farncombe, detectability after firing main gun in smoke, a measly 9 kilometers, which is fairly respectable overall and can let you do a couple of silly things with this ship, and what makes it kind of stand out and actually fun and worth using. So with that said, let's go ahead and take the Yukon out and you guys can see a game in her. So welcome to Straight and welcome to the Yukon. And as I'm hoping you saw with those stats, it's a bit of a weird little boat that we got here. The ability to have smoke on a battleship and to be able to get the smoke fire penalty down to 9 kilometers is always one that makes this boat feel a bit weird, a bit different. Of course, 9 kilometers is still fairly substantive. You still need to sort of be aware of what's going on in the game, because a lot of engagements are, especially like on a map like this, a lot of engagements are going to come within 9 kilometers. Especially, you need to be wary of where destroyers are. You're going to easily be able to know, where cruisers and other battleships are. Those will be easily spotted, but to fire your guns in smoke and get spotted by a destroyer is kind of one of the things you need to worry about, because 9 kilometers, that's well within the sort of destroyer creeping range, if you are. So just having the wherewithal to know that is just kind of something you want to do. Now, of course, battleships tier 6, this ship can be pretty strong. You're going to see us take a couple of hits out of Gorky there with a big old Citadel. Tier 6 battleship, obviously, it's still in its, I'm going to call it prepubescent phase. It's adolescence for the battleship at tier 6, meaning other battleships are still a fairly large threat to you, but you just eat cruisers for lunch. And thankfully, the gods had smiled on us in this match, where we definitely have a ton of cruisers to go after. But we're going to sit back in the smoke, provide some sort of fire support for our team, or at least try to, and see exactly what we can do. And you can see York is at 8.3 kilometers, so he's going to spot us. It is what it is. We hit the reverse. We're going to try to reverse as far as we can, but this is just the reality of the situation we are currently in. Is we're in our smoke, but we are still able to be spotted by enemies, because 9 kilometers is still kind of in the middle as far as ranges go, but it still definitely provides some interesting things. Monahan over there, good, being bold with the attempting to torpedo rush a cruiser and then capping C, which, I wish him the best of luck. It looks like he was nearly successful taking out that cruiser. Our guns are going to come online, and, this is a battle that looks like it may come down, so we'll go ahead and just fire this salvo at him. He gets the reverse off, but thankfully we're able to catch him with a shell, take him down for our first kill of the game. But we are still hot and heavy over here on D. As far as how the Yukon feels to play, it feels like a battleship, y'all. It just feels like a battleship. It is weird that they have done the thing where they create a class of ships that doesn't have a commander, so you have to kind of focus and play around and do a weird commander build to make this work. But as far as the ship performance go, it is very much a one-trick pony. That one trick being the Smokescreen, and when paired with Farncombe the way it is, a Smokescreen that gets your smoke firing penalty down to a stupid number, that allows you to be particularly effective. As you see, La Gossonnière close enough for our secondaries to go off, and they will start peppering him. We're trying to get angles on these ships, while also not being too exposed, though we should be the one sort of absorbing as much of the damage as possible. It is sort of the role of the battleship, but I'm also just trying to get angles on these other cruisers as we overkill the Gossonnière there and wait on our next reload, bringing us up to 2 kills. York backing out, and we do now see the other cruiser that was hanging out on the back right-hand side. Really heavy from the enemy team coming over on this side. Not that I'm complaining, lots of cruisers, lots of targets for us, as Mackinson decides that showing his broadside is the best decision. We're not going to complain here. We will absolutely take 4 hits and 3 overpens. It's a battleship. What do you expect? Yeah. As far as Yukon goes, as far as how you obtain the ship, it's going to be random bundles. Random bundles I find to be not the best. They are not a ship or a style of monetization that I particularly enjoy. My advice, because they show you what your next random bundle is, or they show you what you're going to get from your current one. If this or the next ship that I think we'll hopefully have a review coming out tomorrow for, the Huron, if they're right there in that first slot, absolutely spend the money. If not, neither of these ships are particularly must-haves. And Yukon, I think Yukon is the better of the 2 ships as far as gameplay goes. It's not unique. It is a made-up ship. It's not historical, where I think the people who they may want Huron because maybe their grandfather, they knew some, there's history on that ship, as it was a real ship that the Canadians had access to, that they were running missions with during the war, where this sort of a made up what if World War II didn't happen, what if the Monarch design was proposed and chosen as opposed to the King George design, what if that then it was such peaceful times that they decided to donate this made up ship to the Canadians. Lots of what ifs in order to get to where we are. So I don't find it particularly compelling from a collector's side, but you're seeing the performance here. It's performing, I guess, how you would sort of expect a tier 6 battleship to roll, which is absolutely fine. Anyway, Mackinson closing in. We did kind of slap his turrets with that last one, so not much damage. So we're flipping over to the AP, of course, or the HE, as of course the AP very much paid off there, but Mackinson very low on health overall as he takes down our friendly. He is 1 salvo away. We are quite broadside. We are kind of feeding him a easy citadel. He does take a fairly decent chunk from us, but we have 3 massive heals that we do have access to, and the HE will go ahead and finish him off, allowing us to come in and cap. Of course, there are 2 enemies left, and we are at 3 kills. So, as always, the Kraken hunt is alive and well. Now, unfortunately, the next couple minutes aren't going to be the most exciting. We're going to cap and then drive our way to the other 2 ships that are out here. So we're going to go ahead and cut to a little bit forward in the match. So thankfully for us, both of them are alive and well. Both of them very low on health. Colorado doing the good old bow tank in reverse. He is broadside to us. We can go ahead and use our shells, of course. We did pop our accuracy booster for our tail gun because I was like, oh, we should probably use that as we pick up the high cal on him. And now we're down to just New Orleans. And, well, guys, you know what's going to happen here. Of course, 1 ship, 4 people shooting at him. We're 1 away from a Kraken. Obviously, our teammate's going to finish him off, right? Right? Nope, he hits the brakes. We read it, and down he goes to the Citadel, giving us the Kraken for the win. And, guys, that's all there is to Yukon. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.